A quick note before we get into the episode. Oversharing is a podcast for entertainment purposes only. It is not a medical podcast and does not constitute medical or psychological advice. Always seek the advice of your physician or mental health professional. All right, let's do a Betchicist.
Hi, Jordana and Dr. Naomi. I'm a big fan of the pod and first-time writer. I have an ethical dilemma which plagues me each month. I belong to a spa with a monthly membership that gets me one massage per month at a discounted rate of $100. Non-members may also book massages at the spa, but they must pay $160. On the checkout counter, they display a tip guide at 18%, 20%, and 25% off the non-member price. Even the iPad screen prompts tips amounts based on the non-member price, forcing me to customize if I want a tip based on the price I'm paying. As a member who pays less, am I expected to tip based on the non-member rate? For the most part, I see the same person every month, and I can't help but feel judged for tipping off the member rate. What would you do? Thanks for your help. A feeling zen until checkout, Betch.
This was a tough one, I thought. And I always think the same thing. So I want to validate the dilemma.
Yes.
What do you think?
You know, it's funny because I'm usually very frugal with these types of things, and I've been in this exact situation. I think the right thing to do is to tip on the non-member rate. And I kind of tell myself when I enter into these memberships that that's going to be part of the deal.
Right.
That the tip is not included. Like, and the discounted tip is not included. You're discounting the service. I don't think you're discounting the tip. I guess the people that work at these places maybe kind of are aware that some people might be tipping less because it's cheaper. But I do think, you know, they're providing the same service. I think they should get tipped the amount that they deserve to get tipped. I get it. I've had the same thought, so I don't think I don't judge her for having it, but I would tip off of the regular rate.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if you really think about it, that makes more sense because it's like these people don't own the spa. The discount really comes from the spa, and like these people are living off the tips, and they're providing the same. They don't really get paid a different amount based on if you do the member rate or the non-member rate. So it is nicer to tip based on the full rate.
Right. Because I think the way these memberships work is like the corporate gets the benefit of like the volume of massages that are happening. But any one particular massage therapist can only give so many massages a day anyway.
Right.
So it's not like they're getting volume. They're not getting the volume, like more money because I guess maybe they're booking their schedules up more fully, which allows them to do more massages. But I don't know. I've tried to give Jeff a massage and after like 10 minutes, I'm like, I'm done.
It's a lot of work.
This is hard work.
Right. Yeah.
Like, this is hard work. And like, sometimes I think, I'm like, you just massaged me for an hour and then in comes the next person. I'm like, you're going to go do this again and again and again. It's like manual, hard.
Yeah. Especially
labor.
Deep tissue.
Yeah.
You're
totally
really getting in there.
Yeah, for sure. So, I get this. I get the dilemma, but I would tip them. They work hard. It's a lot of literally hands-on work that they're doing. And, you know, how many massages are you going to give in a day?
And you see the same person every week. Let's build a goodwill. Like it feels like you might have a relationship with that person. I totally understand the urge to feel like should be paying 20%. I hate tipping is so annoying to me. I do wish they would just bake it into the price.
Yeah.
I do find like the idea of like, I'm the decider to be annoying. Like I'd rather get rid of the mental energy and just have them increase the price by 20% and it's like no tipping.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Because it fills your head with all of this like self-criticism and judgment and shame and people pleasing. And, you know, then you come the next week and you're like, oh, is she annoyed because I only tipped on the other rate? And now she's like, and especially when someone's like touching your body and you're sort of like, are we good?
Mad at me?
Yeah. Like, so I totally, there is an aspect of a tip feels like a connection point between two people. And if I don't give the maximum amount, like I'm almost not feeding this good vibes,
Right.
goodwill connection.
Because the idea is that it's discretionary, but it doesn't really feel discretionary. It feels like 20% is like the standard amount that you give. And if you don't, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
So like, fine. But like, why don't we just bake it into the price?
Yeah, totally. Totally. Well, because it's marketing. Like it's almost like the corporate is the one that they get to benefit from advertising a lower price.
Right.
But they don't have that, you have to deal with this moment where the person who bought the membership and thought, oh, wow, I'm going to get a massage every month for $100. No, you're not. You're going to get a massage every month for whatever, $150 or whatever,
right.
$40, $35. That's going to be the price that you're going to pay every week. Which would be nice if it was just like, okay, it's $135 tips included.
Yeah, I agree with this. I also think about this a lot when I do like the DoorDash or Seamless tips.
Mm-hmm.
When you get like a discount code.
Yes.
Like, are you supposed to tip on the regular thing or the other thing? Or like sometimes they'll write on, I don't know if they write about tips, but they'll write like, please tip based on the
non-discounted price.
Like if I was at a restaurant and there was like a discount at the restaurant or someone took something off the menu, I would still tip on the original price, I think.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I do think, I don't know. This is just my 2 cents and no shame. Like tip again, if you want to tip off the 100, I don't look at you any differently.
I'm sure a lot of people do also.
Yes. I'm sure a lot of people do. I just think that tips are a way to like spread a little joy. Like to give a little, like I personally, like I've said this before, I'm pretty frugal. When it comes to like a corporation, like I will fight with, my cell phone company over like $7.
Right.
But when it comes to like someone who's actually getting up, doing work, providing a service in this way, especially in this way where it feels like they're working really hard, like give the little extra sprinkle.
Yeah, if it comes down to it, it's a tip of $20 versus $32 for $12 to not have to think about it and write this email is probably worth it.
Yes.
For $12 a month.
I agree. And, it's hard to work in the service industry because you don't know what you're going to get. And that'll make this person's day a little bit brighter, I think, if they leave at the end of the day. So give the $12 and then if you're like me, fight like a dog when you're arguing with the airline over like the fact that you had to pay for your checked bag or whatever it is.
Yeah, I agree. But I do want to validate that I think tipping culture is a pain in the ass. And it does feel like the tipping is like, should we be tipping on everything? And I'm not sure how much to tip. And it does cause a lot of, even the holiday tipping. I'm like, who gets a tip? How much do they get tipped? I remember tipping my doorman in the city. I was like, the range when you'd ask people how much you're supposed to tip was vary so intensely that it was just, I think it's like, just give us the amount.
Yes, totally.
I'm like, I'd rather pay a higher amount that is just told to me than have to figure it out myself.
Totally. And I do like that's the hard part. Like, especially when I was earlier in my career and younger and just starting, there would be times of the year when it just felt like giving a tip felt really, really hard and stressful. And then that's how you're kind of sized up for the whole rest of the year is like, right now I just happen to be slow and I don't have a lot and my rent just went, like you have a circumstance that doesn't allow you to feel comfortable giving that holiday tip to the doorman or whatever it is. And now every time I walk in my building for the next 364 days, I'm like,
does everyone hate me?
Yes.
Yes.
So, I agree. It does feel almost like that Black Mirror episode. I don't know if you've seen it, where like everyone gets to give you a rating.
Yeah, that was a great one. And, if you have feedback on this, we'd love to go over it in our subscription episode. If you're in the service industry
Mhm.
and you have a POV, I would love to hear it. Or if you disagree with our take, if you think she should tip on the lower amount and here's why, love to hear that take
For
too.
sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Write in oversharing at betches.com. But I think we're right. So
Yeah. But I do agree, like, even her sign off, "A feeling zen until checkout." Like, I just wanna leave my massage relaxed and not have to
right.
think about my whole moral code as I'm walking out
That's
the
why I'm
door.
like, just bake it in and tell me the
Yeah.
price.
Yep. I hear you. I like it.
All right, let's do some intentions.
Okay.
I will read them. Dear Jordana and Dr. Naomi, I've been an oversharing listener since day one and have not missed an episode. Now I'm writing in hoping for an intention I can use when I find myself in the following situation. I started a new job earlier this year, and it was the right move for a lot of reasons. One of those reasons is the culture of the new team I'm on. I work in an industry that's very social. We do a lot of things outside the office, mostly coordinated, funded by our company, but sometimes people decide to grab drinks or dinner outside of the scheduled events. While I love that our team is so close, I'm starting to notice it getting cliquey, as I know is the case with most group dynamics. I've been invited to a few of the impromptu happy hours, but I also know there have been plenty of gatherings I haven't been invited to. One of the girls in the clique is someone I know from a previous job and have stayed friends with, so I'm disappointed she hasn't made more of an effort to be the one to include me. Specifically today, what prompted me to write this email, a group from the office, including the girl I knew previously, was talking about getting drinks after work. I was sitting right next to them, expecting a casual invitation, as I heard them doing with other people throughout the day, but never was asked to join. I could tell there was also group messages and inside joke commentary happening that I was not included in. Side note, I recently found out I'm an Enneagram type 2, which, if you're unfamiliar with, basically signifies a desire to fit in, be liked, people please, etc. On top of that, I've always been a naturally sensitive person, so I consciously try to make an effort to let things like this roll off my back and not ruminate. I can't tell if these situations are the type where I should invite myself at the risk of being annoying or play it cool and be okay with being left out. Can you help me set an intention for next time I notice this happening? I know it's not the end of the world, but I can't let go of the disappointment and feeling of rejection. Thanks so much. Not happy during happy hour.
I see this a lot in my patients around this idea of, cliques and groups, whether it's at work or in school or
Friends.
even, friends, where I think sometimes and I think it's like a biological blinding that happens where the need to feel included is so much more just like igniting this exclusion fear wiring that we have that really is like not relevant most of the time. Like it came from a place of, if I don't have my tribe to help me gather the berries and protect against the thing and build the fire and whatever, then I'm going to die.
Right.
And it still feels like that, when in reality, most of the people that worry about this have friends. They're pretty generally well liked, or at least well liked by some. They're not going to be completely alone, but there is this like, something's happening without me. I need to cling to that. I need to get in there, which is just almost like an irrational. Sometimes, if you really want to, here's why I think this. If you really want to go, that's different. But I think a lot of times it's like, I don't even really want to go. I just want to be invited.
Right. Yeah, no, that's totally true. And I think we all feel this, especially with social media, at least in some part, where if I'll see people who still live in the city hanging out, and I'm like, well, why didn't you invite me? And it's like, I don't live there, but still, you're kind of just like, you want to check that you're still like in.
Hmm. Or you could still be in if you want to, or that
Right.
that door is not closed. I think there's a fear of like them getting closer and then you not being able to like work your way back in, which I think does happen mostly in younger years. I think there's like almost when teenagers are trying to find their way, there is more of like I need to push you out to feel like I'm in
Right.
kind of feeling thing that does happen. But I think in adult relationships, that happens less, where it's more like Sure, Jordana doesn't live in the city anymore, but like if you ever did say, "Hey, I'm in the city, I'm going to stop by," it would almost be like, "Yay,
Right. Well,
like
that's the thing.
Jordana's
It's like,
here."
yeah, that's the thing. Like you said, like if you really want to go, if she really wants to go to this happy hour, she should
Yes.
say, "Are you guys getting drinks tonight? I'd love to come."
Yep. That's it.
Right.
But I think you have to notice, because this isn't an isolated incident, I'm sure. I think you have to notice, do you really want to go, or are you wanting to go out of fear, like an old, ancient fear of exclusion? And if that's why you're doing it, I think you just have to remind yourself, like, my body is telling me, like, this is an emergency. This is going to end up in loneliness and starvation and death, but it's really not. Like, I'm fine. And actually, I don't even really want to go to this thing.
Right. Yeah. I think that's great. So what is the intention she can tell herself when she's getting a sense that someone has an inside joke without her or is hanging out without her?
Yeah. So I wrote, the pain of being left out is a remnant of a danger that no longer exists. I'm well liked and not alone. Because I think that's the fear, that you're not well liked and that you're going to end up alone if you don't have your finger on the pulse of every event. And I also think a second part to this is that you can find a confidence in being able to not go to everything, but still feel like I can show up and be embraced. Because I think sometimes you almost are afraid that if you don't show to all the things, that somehow you're going to feel uncomfortable when you get there. But like for the example of like all your friends that still live in the city, maybe you weren't there last weekend or the weekend before or the weekend before that. But if you show up next weekend with like this confidence of like, hey, like so glad I was able to make it.
Right.
This is so fun. Everyone's kind of like, yay, Jordana's here. She has this really good positive energy, instead of showing up in this way of like, is it okay that I showed up? Like, I'm not sure. Do you guys still like
Right.
me?
And then you're more likely to be invited to more stuff.
Right. Because you're like bringing this good energy. And I think if you can kind of have this confidence and release that clinging energy and kind of find that fun energy rather than like a fear energy around being invited. Like, I'm going because it's going to be fun, rather than I'm going because I'm afraid of what will happen if I don't go, or if if I don't invite myself, then I won't be invited again. Or yeah, just trust. You're cool. You're good. I don't think this is a problem. I mean, she does say she has a sensitivity and she needs to be included. So, like, this is her own insecurity, but find your confidence in the relationships that feel good to you, that you feel like are not these clicky kind of all or not. Like, that's what a clique ends up kind of being. Like, I'm sure everyone that's in this clique could relate to this question as well. That's why they're wanting to go every single time. There's the same people showing up every single time. Some
Right.
of that is because they want to show up every time. And I'm sure some of that is because they're afraid of what will happen if they don't show up every time, that they will no longer be in the inside joke or something will happen. So everyone kind of has these types of fears. I think just being aware of like the clingy, fearful emotions and not letting that rule your decision making.
Agree. I love that advice. If she's going to go, show up with the excited, and you can use that for anything, dating,
Yeah.
whatever it is. If you're, show up with confidence, you're more likely to, it's like feeds into itself.
Yeah. Yeah. But I get that. I mean, I'm sure, maybe when you show up the next time you go to one of these your city friends things, you might be like, oh, they're gonna like talk about things that I'm not gonna know about, or fill your head with fear about what you've missed. But you can also just be like, I'm so excited to find out what I missed.
Right. Yeah. Love that. Let's do some triggers. You want to read our first one?
Sure. Okay. Hi, Dr. Naomi and Jordana. Love the pod. Let's jump right in. I have a triggered scenario for you from a trip I took with my boyfriend last week. Some background. 2 weeks ago, my boyfriend was going to a bachelor party for 5 days. Knowing myself and my anxiety around him being gone, I asked him before he left for his trip to please don't forget to call me while you're gone. He said I won't. I expected maybe 2 5-minute phone calls throughout the week just to check in and see how things were going with me back home and hear about how the trip was going.
This is a
By
very long bachelor party. Sorry to interrupt.
5
5
days.
days, crazy long bachelor party.
Yeah,
But
agree.
okay. Sorry.
Totally agree. By day 3, he hadn't called. I texted him saying I would love to chat if he got a free second later tonight or sometime tomorrow. That text message disappeared into the abyss and was never replied to, and no phone call. On day 4, he texted me that they were just going to be hanging out at the house all afternoon. Again, said if you have some downtime, I would love to chat for a few minutes. Again, the text message was ignored and no phone call. I was so anxious I couldn't sleep and was left wondering why I wasn't worth his time or effort when I knew they weren't out doing anything. The day after he came home, we talked about it, he apologized, and we moved on. Or so I thought, because this is where my trigger comes in. A few days later, we left for our summer trip, just the two of us. We road trip to our destination, check into our hotel, and have a fantastic dinner with good banter. I felt like we were in what I call our love bubble. We walk back to the hotel from dinner where there is a text on his phone from his friend asking him to call him. He immediately calls him. They chat for about 20 minutes about literally nothing. My blood was boiling. I was triggered enough at the time to make some passive-aggressive remarks and start an argument over it, LOL. A phone call to his friend on our trip would normally not have bothered me, but the fact that he couldn't take 5 minutes to call me at any point while he was gone last week, but called his friend just to chat on the first night of our couple's trip sent me over the edge. 2 questions. Is my request for a quick phone call or two while on a boys' trip too much? How triggered was I allowed to be? Thank you for all that you do. A hose before bros, Batch.
This is so triggering. I
So
felt so
triggering.
triggered the entire
Same.
time. Honestly, I mean, it's funny. She's like, the triggering was that the friend called. To me, the triggering would be the most triggering thing would be that I was ignored twice on a request on a trip that involves like a bachelor party. Like, you're going to ignore my text for a phone call and a batch. That's so suspicious.
For
feeling.
5 days.
Yeah, I really don't like that.
I could see ignoring if it was like a one night, not even. And you shouldn't ever ignore the person you're in a relationship.
At least, or I mean, you should never ignore, even if he couldn't do the call. Hey, we're like back-to-back activities. It's like, I really can't get away. I'm really sorry. I know I told you would call. I'll explain when I get back.
Yes, totally.
To ignore the text is so
the
disrespectful.
The two ignorings are
to me
like grounds for dismissal.
I like agree. I think it shows really little consideration for the person you're with. Your 5-day bachelor party is crazy to me. And my head, just like hers, would be going to some weird shit. Like, what are they doing?
Right.
That you can't call me for 5 minutes. I asked for 2 5-minute phone calls. You didn't even answer and you said you would do that.
Yes.
I don't know she doesn't really give much information on what the resolution was when they had this talk. I'm assuming it didn't get that deep.
Yes. He probably said sorry and she probably said, okay.
Yeah. Not cool.
Doesn't sound like there was much more than that. Yeah, agree. I'm so glad you wrote in. This is unacceptable behavior for like a committed relationship. You cannot ignore not only 1, but 2 messages on a 5-day bachelor party, to not speak once on a 5-day bachelor party. And then, the icing on the cake is that he picks up and immediately calls back his friend and talks for 20 minutes. Yeah. Yes.
It's not like he's so into living in the moment that he never is on his phone and doesn't speak to anyone. This would enrage me too. I was like enraged just reading about it. I'd give it like an 8.
Yeah. It's funny. What is it? I'm like, this is not okay. I feel like we do a lot of triggers, but 2 ignoring a 5-day bachelor party. And I think what it's enraging to me is and I don't know how she's going to take this, but I feel bad for her that she even is considering that this is like okay or normal.
Right.
Even her request for 5 minutes twice on a 5-day bachelor party, like, I don't think a request for 20 minutes 3 times on a 5-day bachelor party is crazy.
Or even like a nightly good night call.
Good night. Yeah, totally. Like, I think her expectations, and I just feel like somehow, I don't know if maybe she doesn't really have the expectations or if he's made her feel like
Those are crazy
crazy
expectations. Yeah.
expectations. Something is going on here that is making her like ask for crumbs and not even get them. That's concerning. And I don't, I don't have good feeling about
This relationship.
this.
Yeah.
Ignoring is not, it's never okay. And asking for yeah, like you said, 5 minutes a day is like,
Yes. But if someone, again, even if he couldn't do it, even if it was the fine, you can't get away for a phone call. To ignore the request completely to me is so disrespectful. I wouldn't do that to anyone I cared about.
yes. And also, like, yes, you can't get away for 5 minutes, but yet there's no like explanation of we were
Why?
camping in the woods and there was no service. My phone got eaten by a bear. Like, what could possibly make you not able for 5 days to get away for 5 minutes? Maybe there's just like a culture of like, she said like bros before hoes, like he'd be made fun of if he goes to call his girlfriend, or I don't know what is going on. Maybe they were like doing drugs and he was unable to like function for a conversation. I have no clue what was happening, but yeah,
Sus,
fishy.
as they
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
as the as the kids say.
I'm sorry. Yes. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but this is not cool.
I would say, yeah.
Come on the show. I want to talk to
Yes.
her.
Bring him if you can. That would be great.
Yes. I want to talk to you. What is making you feel like you have to accept this bare minimum from this
Yeah.
relationship?
It's time to stop being passive aggressive and to just be regular aggressive, I think.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 8. Let's do
Yeah.
let's do another one. I was so mad reading that
Yeah.
at him. And I would like more details if she does come on.
Yeah, maybe he has a side of the story.
Yeah.
I'm sure he does.
How did the apology go down? Maybe
Yeah.
there's something there. All right. I'll read the last one. Hi, thank you for all that you do. I'm writing in with a triggered scenario. The long and short of it is that I just had lunch with my boss, and she spent a large chunk of it slacking off my new hometown. A year or so ago, I moved to a tiny town about 30 minutes drive from my office because we wanted more space, and this small town was affordable and a great location to raise our 2 kids. My boss grew up in this area and was going on and on about how there's nothing here and what little there is slowly vanishing. For example, there used to be 2 bars, now there's just 1. There are only 3 restaurants, 2 groceries, 1 hardware store, etc. I personally don't really care. I used to live in a big city during my 20s, but now me and my husband are in a phase of life where we don't crave going out, and all our hobbies are things that don't require a big city or even a mid-sized one. If we want to go out to eat, we can drive 20 minutes to the next bigger town. But the way my boss kept going on and on about how there's nothing there, it's so dead, everyone who stayed is a loser, kind of annoyed me. She's not wrong, but she's also not seeing the farmers markets and kids' hobbies and library events, which are much more my speed than nightclubs and concerts right now. I get that she was a teen when she left this town and probably found it very stifling, but my kids aren't teens yet and they love it here. Should I take a chill pill or is my boss the one triggered by where I chose to live? We had a different manager with us for lunch company, and I could tell she was trying to steer the conversation towards the positive things. I personally grew up in a major city, and I don't really think that's better or worse for kids. A small town Betch.
The fact that I'm assuming she knows that she lives in this town, it's so rude.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Crazy.
Not nice.
Very, very rude, not nice. But I will say this is a her issue.
Yeah, she had something weird happen in her high school. It's like a her negative experience she's trying to project onto the town because she didn't like her high school years.
Yeah, or maybe in some ways she's like conflicted. Maybe her family's still there and she's conflicted about, moving back. And this sounds like her talking to her.
Right.
She's convincing herself why she shouldn't live there or why it's worth giving up whatever she might feel guilty about not having or feel badly about not having. By crapping all over this town. There's no town in the world, it sounds like, I would be as negative about as she is about this town. Like,
Yeah. Also, like, read the room. She lives there. I can
it's great.
understand if she was talking to
Had
someone
no
that
idea that she lived there or
right,
like she was moving
or
there.
had no
Yeah,
connection to the town or didn't care, where she was like going on a rant. But it's like, it's just very rude to say something to someone about the city that they just moved to.
totally. Like, I'm shocked that she was going on. And I do, again, I'm here to help you people. There might have been a space there for you to be like, I live there. This is hurtful, or this is offensive. Like, there might have been a moment. I guess this was her boss. So maybe she felt like she had to be really
Right.
reverent and not like aggressive, but even making a joke like, whoa, tell me how you really feel. Or,
Right. Or, she could say exactly what she said to us. Actually, like, yeah, I could totally see that. But actually, I'm not really interested in going out. Or, I actually like the drive to the next place. I don't find it that crazy. And, I did already move there.
move there. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think were probably a lot of opportunity for her to have stood up for herself a little bit. I get that it's your boss and you probably just felt like you had to sit there and listen, which sounds torturous. And I'm sorry that you had to go through that. But yeah, she's like you said, either she wasn't treated well there or something. She has bad memories, or she's conflicted about maybe trying to convince herself why she shouldn't move back there. This is her issue, which you just happened to walk in front of.
Yeah.
And she was projecting all of her crap onto you. There's like no other explanation for why she would be so overtly negative.
Agree. She's trying to justify this to herself.
Yeah, it's like anything, like you see people doing that with all sorts of things, like that they make a choice and then they crap all over the other choice as if they're just convincing themselves of why
Right.
this choice is better than that one.
Right, because if she didn't have her own complex about it, she wouldn't say anything. She might not say it's great. Let's say she really felt like just didn't like the town. I think she would just not say anything.
Yeah, she would even fakely be like, "Yeah, good for you."
Right. Love it
You know?
there. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. This is yeah, this was almost so extreme that I would take it as a compliment.
Agreed.
Like, that she's conflicted enough about this that she's getting so mad about it. Like, that probably means that there's a part of her that in some way feels like she could or should, or, that there would be a benefit
Yeah.
in it.
Agreed.
So,
All right. Well, good luck. I would get your town sounds lovely for children.
yeah,
I'd give
totally.
this a 6 because she sounds really annoying.
Yeah.
And you can't really, and because she's your boss, there's like a power dynamic where
Yeah.
you don't even feel like you can be like, shut up.
Yes. I think our triggers are, maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe I'm in a mood today, but I'm going to give this a 7
Okay.
because she's going on and on knowing that you live there. It's just like,
Crazy. Yeah.
yeah, it's like if you, I don't know,
It's
if
just
you have a
rude.
pool, you have a pool in your backyard and someone's like, oh my God, I would never get a pool in my backyard. Like, you know how many kids drown in a pool, and like, it's so expensive and that's crazy. And it's like,
Right.
nobody
Shut
does that.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Say that to the other person with no pool.
Right.
Yes.
Totally. There's a million examples of like when people don't do this because it's just offensive.
Yeah. That's just like a rude person, I think.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'm triggered today. Extra.
Same. These are both annoying. Validated. 2 validation stamps.
Stamp.
Yes.
All
All right. Well, we did
right.
it.
That's it. Thank you for triggering me today. I feel like I'm carrying the weight of your emotional turmoil into the rest of my day, but I love it. Keep at it. And please, triggered number 1 with the 5-day bachelor party. Hit us up. We want to talk to you.
Yes. Let's do a deep dive into that. We'll reach out to you.
It could be anonymous.
Yes.
We could change your voice. No one will have to know who you are.
Come on the episode.
We want to help you. All right. That's our time.
Great work today.